welcome to this special edition of Rupy Tuesday. So I'm really excited today because I'm interviewing one of my good friends, Andy. Do you want to say hello, Andy?
Hi everyone, how are you?
So we're interviewing Andy today, and if you can hear some building work and drills, don't be alarmed. We're in Andy's house, aren't we?
I'm developing a building site, an accessible space for me and for my company. So apologies for the background noise. But we need a roof.
Yeah. But thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be interviewed today.
Thank you, I'm excited.
I'm really excited as well.
Yeah.
So just for the people at home, I just thought you could just tell everyone that your age and your name and kind of what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, so my name's Andy Walker. I'm 41 years old. I run a business called Living Your Dreams Consultancy, which provides auditoring, I believe it's called, public speaking, motivational speaking. So I work with schools, companies, the public sector, around resilience and team building and leadership and management, empowerment, public sector stuff, NHS. So that's part of what I do, but I'm also a consultant and disability advisor and campaigner, working around personal health budgets and a whole host of issues which affect disabled people, challenging policies, legislation, and then working one-to-one with people, doing mentoring, amongst other things, building houses.
Yeah.
I also facilitate and run the Transport for Greater Manchester's Metrolink access group. So it's called the DDRG, Disability Design Reference Group. So we do site visits and a lot of stuff around customer service and the experience of a tram for disabled people and otherwise.
Oh.
So I'm a busy boy.
You're so busy. I don't get how you do everything.
And I like cooking.
And you like cooking?
Yeah.
What do you like to cook?
I like cooking curries. I cook anything. I love Italian stuff, but I like cooking spicy stuff. So yeah, my food drawer's full of stuff.
I'm coming around here, then I'm going to come around for dinner.
Yeah, I promise not to poison you. Okay?
So you mentioned that you're doing so many things. So you go around schools. You're working, for in terms of making the tram accessible at Manchester. But I just wanted to ask, how you got into all that in the first place?
Well, so I started initially working, just volunteering. I mean, volunteering was the most important part. So I had an accident when I was 28 years old, which is now 13 years ago. And I was really inspired by a lot of work in the public sector, which was by a charity called the Backup Trust. And Aspire, who helped me out with going on a course which was sailing independently with my chin. But it was all really about empowerment, about life skills. I met other people, disabled people who were living really successfully, working with jobs, having relationships, going around, travelling, all that kind of stuff. I do loads of travelling as well. And the first thing that I wanted to do was just, find my feet. So I started to volunteer with the Backup Trust and a few other charities. And then I got involved locally through Oldham Centre for Independent Living, and that fell into something called the Right to Control, which was all about kind of getting people who were receiving benefits to make that assessment process easier and to kind of have a one-stop shop for people, so that it wasn't like a multiple assessment process, which I found really difficult, me and my family initially, and getting the information and advice. So I wanted to use the things that I found difficult when I first became a disabled person in my journey, the struggles that I had, and kind of learn how I can remove some of those social barriers, which is what I've found prevalent since life in a wheelchair. So organisations, attitudinal stuff, physical barriers, all that kind of stuff. I became really passionate, and I wanted to educate myself, not just about life with a spinal injury, but how with different impairments people can adapt and overcome to any situation. So that's how I started, really, to learn a little bit. I did a counselling course to learn a little bit about mentoring, and I just naturally was asked to work in schools and to work with children and Cub Scout groups and voluntary organisations and youth groups, and I just naturally found that I enjoyed speaking and that people got something out of my story, which I thought was a bit strange, but and amazing. But that's what happened, and you know, so I started a business. Ultimately, I got asked to work for a princess in Bahrain.
Oh, what? Say that again.
Yeah, so she's called Sheikh Nora.
So, right, okay, so you got asked to work for a princess.
Yeah,
in
so I was
Bahrain?
I was lucky. I was really lucky. It was a fluke. Let me tell you, it was a real fluke. But there was a fantastic lady called Claire Lomas who does bionic marathons.
Ooh.
So she's paraplegic, and she couldn't attend an event which was called the We Can Do It event, held annually in Bahrain. Well, it's across 3.5 million people. It's streamed live across the world. Yeah. So so that was the time to get really professional. So I got a bit of coaching and found out the things that I, you know, didn't do quite so well, and I developed a speech. But the speech is about a life story, so it came from the heart, and I did it. I developed it all myself, and we went to Bahrain. Me and my dad, one of my best mates, who was a PA for me, called Imran, and we did this speech, and we ran workshops, and we got interviewed, and was on TV. I was on billboards on motorways.
Wow.
It was crazy, and I didn't expect any of it when we arrived. But it made a really big impact, the speech.
Amazing.
Yeah, so you know, that happened, and then I got asked to have an appearance in Emmerdale.
Yeah.
About 3 years.
Go down Emmerdale.
For Emmerdale, yeah. So I managed to get on the farm and meet these celebrities who.
Was the farm accessible? That's what I wanted to know.
It was accessible, but I've never watched Emmerdale. But my grandma, my mum, and my sister, who absolutely love it, they were like, "Have you met this person? Have you met that person?" I was like, "I don't have a clue who you're talking about." But I had met them, and I knew the real life names, and they were lovely. It was amazing. But it gave me an opportunity to go on This Morning and heighten the profile.
You met them this morning?
Yeah.
Who did you meet?
I met Jenny Faulkner and obviously Philip Schofield.
Yeah.
But at the time, the whole point of doing stuff like that and the media interest was to kind of I didn't really want to build a profile for myself, but I wanted to build a profile and understanding for not just disabled people, but anyone who's struggling in life, to realise that no matter what the barriers and challenges are, you can adapt and overcome and achieve stuff and still have dreams and still have opportunities. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So my company's called Living Your Dreams, and as part of the interview, the whole point was to signpost people during that interview process to charities and organisations that were useful to myself, and government schemes like Access to Work and that kind of stuff. And that's what I did. I blurted a load of stuff out to Philip Schofield and said, "You need to sponsor me because I'm about to climb a mountain." Because a healthcare professional told me, "You'll never climb a mountain again." And I was like, "Well, we'll see about that." So I went and adapted the chair, and my mates, you know, pulled me up mountains like an emperor. You know,
I bet you love that.
Yeah, I sit there shouting and screaming orders at them, and they do the donkey work. But we've done all sorts of stuff together. My mates and my family are amazing, and teamwork makes the dream work. So as a result of those, you know, interviews and what have you, I later on met people on courses that had found charities and like I say, government schemes and things in the public sector that had been useful to them. So that's why, you know, why I was silly enough to audition for the part, because I was asked for a charity. I did not want to do it.
I remember watching it, you know, and you were really good.
I was terrible, but thank you anyway.
You were alright.
You're a fantastic liar. Yeah, I definitely won't poison you. You can come back and I'll make sure you eat well. But thank you. But
don't poison me.
Yeah, but that was it. And you know, I wanted to professionalise things, and I wanted to do things in a professional environment. So that's what I did. So it happened quite intuitively after that I got booked into some schools and speaking companies, found out a bit about what I did, and hopefully the whole point is that it has an impact on, you know, young people's lives. So I work really diversely across many industries and different sectors, and you know, hopefully the messages, you know, have an impact on people at all different stages in their lives and careers.
Absolutely, and that's what I love about you, Andy, because you're always out there and you are, I suppose, like living your dreams, and you're not letting anything kind of hold you back. So although you're in a wheelchair, like, a lot of it's to do with positive mindset and kind of resilience as well. So before I go into like maybe mindset stuff, I thought it might be a good idea for the audience at home who don't know your story and your journey. So I was just wondering whether you could talk about kind of before the accident and what happened.
Yeah. So I was when I was a really active person from. So I was, I've been really lucky in life. Got an amazing family. I've got an older brother, two younger siblings, so a sister and a younger brother who I adore. So we're part of a big family and a friend network. So I was really lucky in life that I had opportunities given to me. I worked hard at school and did well academically. So I had good jobs and I started businesses that were successful, doing things like rugby shops and document management stuff and working in the public sector and travelling around the world. I've travelled all around the world. I've done adrenaline stuff that was I love facing my fears in life.
Yeah.
So things like big bungee jumps and skydives, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But just also I was really interested in cultures, and when you visit places like India and Vietnam and Cambodia, you realise that life's not all about money and resources, it's about community and spirit and all that kind of stuff. And I've worked in Romania, in orphanages and Barbados.
You've done so much.
Loads of stuff. And then when I was 28 years old, I was in India for the second time in my life, travelling with a group of friends and my then partner, and basically I went for a swim, standing start. I was a big strapping lad, and I was around about, I'd like to think a little bit lighter, but probably around 15 stone, 16 stone.
Okay.
And from a standing start, dived in the water, and I remember the whole thing. I broke my neck, and from that point onwards, I was paralysed from the neck down. So it was a really tough journey in India. The first 5 days, the service, there was no such thing as an NHS in Goa. It was tough. It was really hard. A lot of operations without pain relief, and a lot of confusion, a lot of really negative messages. But then, we took a big risk. I went to Delhi, spent 2 months there on a life support machine, tracheostomy, without the ability to speak, and I never shut up. This is the worst person to interview. But it really gave me an appreciation of other impairments, losing that voice. And I came back. The NHS were amazing. Supporting me, the third sector were amazing. Charities like Aspire, people with independent living advice. My family were great. They showed me role models of mine, like people who I've met, Matt Kings of this world, and the Barry West, who've done amazing things, living successful in wheelchairs. And it's it's not despite of, but it's because of we're in a wheelchair. We have these opportunities. So that was what happened basically. And I came home and I had to adapt to properties. I had to fight for my personal health budget and my CHC, and I found it all. There were so many barriers, socially and physically, and there was some amazing people to help you, but there was also a lot of people and information and advice that was really difficult to get. So I learned from it, and I wanted people's journeys to be easier in the future, and I wanted to help people and families like mine and my partners and my families. We wanted to I wanted to make that part of the world a better place, and to make living your dreams out a little bit easier for people in the future.
So you say it was tough, but obviously you worked through that, and you're going around now and you're empowering others to do the same, whether disabled or not.
Yes.
But can you remember how you moved from, just managing day-to-day life and then being in the position of where you are now?
What I found was, it was when I was busy and I had challenges, and it was like setting up the care side of things, sorting the house out. Everything was busy. And then what happened was I became a single person, and the house was sorted, and there was no job to do, and there was a big hole, there was a big glut, there was a big gap in life, and that was the toughest mental challenge. And I was really struggling, for a few weeks, a few months maybe, to find a purpose in life, and that's what I had to do, And I think, I often say that I lost my arms and legs, and my fingers and my toes and twiggling all that and tickling people. But what I didn't lose was hope, and I didn't lose dreams, and I didn't lose the ability to understand that life isn't about the things that I couldn't do, it was about the things that I could do, and about the opportunities that I did have, you know, and quite enjoyed the fact that there were still challenges and opportunities. And you know, I looked at role models. I didn't try and reinvent every wheel, although I've done things my own way because I'm my own kind of a guy. But you know, I looked at other people who had lived successfully with similar different disabilities, and I was inspired by it. And when you started to volunteer, which is what I did, and get busy again and go on courses that were supplied by charities or that were available locally, that, you know, I embraced it. I embraced the world of disability. I embraced the people that I met, and not just the disabled people, but the people and organisations, you know, people that support that environment. And I was really inspired by it. And I was inspired by a guy called Frank Salt, who's a real mentor of mine, who's a blind guy who lives in Rochdale, and he's just amazing. You know, his attitude to everything's amazing, and he's a cheeky chappy like me. And I met characters like yourself who are uplifting, and like a mutual friend of ours, Richard Curry, who's, you know, who's been around and done things academically and lived his whole life as a disabled person. And I thought, what have I got to complain about? You know, it's, you know, I need to get on with it. But I'm the same person, so I need the same sort of, you know, excitements and rewards in life, and adrenaline kicks. You know?
So one interesting thing that you mentioned was having that sense of purpose. So what do you think your sense of purpose is?
I like to be busy, but I like supporting people. So I love working with people. So you know, I enjoy the fact that, you know, helping people helps me. It's quite a selfish thing, helping people. You know, it sounds like, you know, everyone says you're an inspiration, and, you know, they talk about you like you're some form of, you know, World War hero. When I don't feel like that at all. I feel like the things that I get involved in, whether it's helping a family member recently, or it's helping someone with a support plan, or, you know, group leading the course, that kind of stuff, you know, I love it. It gives me that sense of fulfillment. So I really enjoy telling my story, not because I think it's of great interest to everyone, because from what I'm told and the feedback that I get, it's you know, it has a positive impact on how people can approach their mental challenges, their attitudes, their ability to be resilient. I think if he can do that without his arms and legs, what can I achieve in my life? That's what I hope that people, companies, organisations, public authorities, and, you know, health professionals, because the perspective often of what people can achieve and do from a health or social perspective of professionals, sometimes the perception of what can be achieved is different than what mine was. Because I got told I was going to work in a chicken factory. That was which is fine for anyone who's working in a chicken factory. That's fine, but that wasn't my dream. I don't want to work in a chicken factory. That wasn't.
What was this before?
Afterwards,
Really?
Yeah.
He told you that?
Yeah. So the social worker came to my house, and he basically said that he's got the perfect job for me. You know, I'm good with numbers. Yeah. Do you like chicken? I was like, yeah. This is great. I love a bit of chicken. I'm a big boy. I like a bit of chicken. Probably a bit too much up in my belly, but. And then said I got the perfect job. It's counting chickens on this carousel in a chicken factory. And, you know, somebody told me that I'd never climb a mountain and never be strong again. I'd work in a chicken factory, and I just, you know, these kind of things can defeat you. But I just thought, you know, I'm going to show you, But I could have, you know, I could have got cheap chickens. You know, every time I go to the supermarket, there's a sense of regret that I've got to pay full price for chicken. But, you know, when I look at the things I've been involved in, I'm happy, you know.
So I think our stories are a little bit similar in terms of, you know, people setting their limits on your capabilities. So how have you managed that? So some people I find, you know, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So someone said you're not good enough, and you internalise those thoughts. Whereas other people, so I remember, especially when I was younger, I'm like, well, I'm going to show you. So what's your attitude to it?
I mean, exactly. I mean, the only limit of people have in life is the limit of the mind. You know, the brain is the biggest, you know, and the most important tool that we all have. You know, and thankfully, cognitively, whilst I'm very challenging as a human being, I would imagine, to be around at times, my brain and my ability to make the decisions I want in my life, the choices I want, I've always been there, and empowering myself in that situation was, it was a journey, because, I had to take inspiration from, people like yourself and people like, the people that I've mentioned previously, and, the people that I've met that I haven't mentioned on courses that I went onto. You're a product of the environment that you choose to put yourself into.
Absolutely.
And the sky's the limit when it comes to opportunities. But if someone says I can't do something, or not just me but my mates, then we know we're speaking to the wrong person. So when the guy turned around to me and said, "You're never going to climb a mountain again," that could and would have flawed other people in that spam unit. I'm aware of that. But I just thought, I'll show you, and by showing you, I want to set an example to the next people in the spinal unit, or who are coming out of an acquired brain injury situation, or something's changed in their life. And it isn't just about disability; it's about people who are going through challenges in life, business, leisure, like social stuff, with relationships, all that kind of stuff is a challenge that we all go through in life, isn't it? We're all going to have ups and downs. It's about how you approach them, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, I think so.
No, I think so as well. This is what this whole YouTube series is about. It's about, that empowering message and how we deal with our challenges and what we can do in order to help ourselves, in order to empower ourselves. So Andy, this has been a really good interview. Thank you so much. But I just wanted to ask you, what kind of message do you have for someone who's watching this at home and who might be feeling kind of disempowered at the moment, who might be finding life challenging, and they might be disabled or not, they might, like you said, they might be going through relationship issues or financial issues. What kind of message do you have for the audience at home?
Find a purpose in life, and it can't be tokenistic. So everyone's got different dreams, find something that you love doing, surround yourself in a positive environment, surround yourself by people who've got similar likes in life, loves in life. They might be completely different types of characters. I love to get involved in lots of diverse kind of stuff. I love travelling, but it's about finding out what you enjoy, what fulfills you yourself as a person. I'm about to go cycling across Kenya for a charity because I'm an adrenaline freak, and it's a big challenge, and it's going to be amazing. But I just think you've got to throw yourself into the opportunities that you've got, and and everyone's got them. You've just got to open your mind to the opportunities. So that's it. Open your mind, find things that you love. Don't let them be tokenistic, and get stuck in. And if you fail, again and again and again, keep on trying, because eventually you'll get there. And the more positive the environment you surround yourself in, I think the easier that becomes. Absolutely.
How many miles again are you doing?
It's going to do 400 kilometres, so in miles, it's roughly 300 odd.
Oh my goodness.
Across Kenya with a chin-controlled bike.
Wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't even manage getting from 4 minutes down my road the other day.
No, but it's worth it. It's for Regain. They're amazing. Regain Sports Charity. They're a fantastic charity. As are so many. And get out and volunteer. That's the other thing. Jobs are great, but getting stuck into community stuff. That's my advice to anybody, because it's rewarding. Yeah,
and one of the things that I've mentioned in my blogs before is when you're feeling down, one of the things that you can do, which will help yourself and which will help others, is to actually go out there and help others.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you do a lot of the time.
Yeah, I love it. I love volunteering. It's become a passion in my life. I enjoyed parts of doing it previously. There's been more opportunities to do it, and understanding of the value of it for myself, the impact it has on myself as well. And there's no use being the richest person with a sulk on and miserable. I find that things that make you happy, are so much more valuable than you know, chasing a financial dream or anything like that. So anything that I get involved in, whether it's group leading and youth groups, and I've just started doing stuff with Whiz Kids, which is brilliant. I love it, you know, backup stuff, and like getting involved with organisations like Matt Hampson, who's an amazing role model for people. All these things and people are amazing, and organisations, and you know, disabled people's organisations. It's great fun to be involved in. You meet great characters, and you know, they do really, really important work in the community and educationally. So yeah, get stuck into that stuff. It's really good.
No, well, thank you so much, Andy. Like, if it was up to me, I'd sit here and interview you all day. But if people want to find out more about you, where can they find you?
Well, I've got a website which you can contact me through, which is www.lydc.info. That needs updating, but it's it gives you a broad stroke of what I get involved in. There's a couple of videos of stuff that I've done and been involved in, and yeah, there's a way of getting hold of me there.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll make sure I put the URL at the bottom of this video, so you guys can like click on that link if you want to get in touch with Andy. But this has been amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're amazing. Rupy Tuesdays.
Rupy Tuesday.
Thanks, Rupy. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you guys. And remember, if you've enjoyed this video, to like, subscribe, and share.
Share the video.
Yeah, share it.
Rupy Tuesdays.
Yeah. Rupy Tuesdays. Alright then, thank you everyone. See you next week.